Do you want to develop more stability on your forehand volley? Do you feel like it's just not working? Or maybe you're coming from the school of like your forehand volleys has got that forehand grip and it feels great on the forehand, but it doesn't work on the backhand. And so we need to switch the forehand volley to more of a continental grip. Well, this video is going to help you because I'm going to simplify it for you in very easy steps. So let's get started. So the number one thing is this, how we can switch from potentially having a forehand grip volley where it feels great. You can just absolutely crush the ball when it's hit perfectly there. Oh, well, maybe not all the time. But if the ball's any lower or you want to like add some finesse, what happens is generally the ball's going to probably pop up and we don't want that. So the very first thing we got to understand is how to create force through the ball without popping it with that forehand grip. And it really comes down to a couple things, making sure you connect up your body the right way, and I'm going to show you how to do that. We want to make sure that we have a continental grip. And an easy way of finding a continental grip is holding your racket just like this, making a V shape and coming down. Now, this is what's important, not just to make sure you come down, but we want to take this pad right here. If you press on this pad, and we're going to take that pad and put it on the second bevel to the right. I'm right-handed player, so I'm going to go over to the right. That pad now allows us to push. You can feel that pad pushing. And it's really important that you feel that pad pushing. Now, that creates stability between the hand and the wrist and the arm, and that's going to be hugely important. But now we have to work on our swing, because if we just have the pad set up, yes, that'd be great if the ball comes to you. It's going to probably feel weird, but you're like, how do I use this? Especially if you're coming from kind of using this grip. How do I use this thing? Because that's definitely not going to work. So how you use is making sure you start with a good ready position and you understand that you need to turn your shoulders more. Okay, so let's back up before we talk about turning our shoulders. I want you to imagine if you're going to push on a wall. Push on a wall right here. Where would your hands be? It'd probably be somewhere around here. Why is that? It's because the way our legs are set up and the way our shoulders are set up, my hand's right behind it, so I can push weight through my hand. Now, would you push like this? Probably not, because my hands aren't behind my body. It's actually so wide that, okay, just like if I did a push-up, I'd probably feel the easiest here and much harder here because my hands aren't directly beneath my body. So the question is now, why does that pertain to a volley? So what we want to do is make sure we have this pushing action. So right now, my hand is in front of my shoulder. So if I push, it's great. I can push here. But the problem is, if I push like this, well, how the heck do I hit the ball? Because the strings are facing this way. And this is where your shoulders come in handy. Where if I turn my shoulders, guess what? Even though I'll do it this way so you can see it, if I turn my shoulders towards the camera, I can still push forward, okay, with my shoulders turned. So now you can see how with that pad, if I turn my shoulders, I can now push my weight forward and look where the racket face is. And that's why it's so important to have a continental grip and understand this idea of pushing, because volleys are not, or power and stability on a volley, it doesn't come from the swing, which is misunderstood, I think, because players start like this and they're like, oh yeah, I'm crushing the volley. But then as you get better and better, you're like, that's not working anymore. It's because you want to start learning to push your weight forward. But then you hear people say, use your legs on your volleys, and they don't explain how you want to make sure you turn your shoulders to line up this pushing action. Again, because I can turn my shoulders, I can push in a direction where my hand's in front of my shoulder. So I want you to see the difference. If I volley like I think a lot of people do in the beginning, is what they do is they take the racket back and they're doing this. So I'm trying to muscle the ball this way, trying to muscle the ball. And I can make it work because I'm getting the racket face right. But this is way harder compared to keeping this up here and I'm turning my shoulder and I'm pushing through. Notice the difference between my leg is I'm pushing through. And so now I don't need a big swing. I can just turn, push, okay? And that's the key, is making sure that from here, having the continental grip and the pad in the right place, that I turn my shoulders, which allows me to push my weight through the ball. And this is so important because it allows you to smoothly move through the ball now. So if you've been a player where you have to stop and hit and you're losing your balance, that's the old days. Now, if the ball comes, you can easily just push and move forward. And it makes it so much easier to transition through the ball. And if you want to know more detail on this, I'll leave a video here to show you how to move through the ball using your legs. But if you understand this foundation of volleying with having the right grip, the pad location, and the alignment of the hand and the shoulder, and you just pushing through, it's really important. Now, one more thing, because this comes up so much and it's a killer, is to understand that when we push, I'm pushing because the ball's close to my strings and I'm pushing. But if I push too early, like a lot of, I think, players are taught, is to stomp, is that the moment I stomp, boom, my weight's gone. So when I'm pushing here, notice how, boom, I contact then land because I want to keep my weight going through the ball. And so that step is delayed. So make sure you do that, and make sure you watch this video if you want to go deeper on learning how to move and have solid, reliable volleys.